So today I wanted to talk about a character from this novel, To Have and Have More by Sanibel. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And this character is called Emery. And so basically she's very wealthy and privileged, and she goes to Derrymore Academy. Okay, long story short, right? Emery Hooper, she was adopted by very rich, privileged people, and she's lived a very lavish and glamorous life. And her wealth isn't the main focus here that I want to discuss, but it's how this controversial character has a low-key iconic but somewhat controversial mindset that I feel we can all learn from. Oh, and I wanted to add, okay, the character Emery is Korean, but and this is important for the context of this novel, but the school she goes to is like mostly white people there, and so she's considered the minority, and there's a Chinese character and some other minority characters like Lilah Chang and I can't remember the other characters, to be honest, because it's been a while since I read this, but I've jotted down some key points. Okay, what I find low-key iconic about this character Emery is her mindset. And I know that at first, okay, disclaimer, the character herself is wealthy, so it's so much easier to have this mindset that I'm about to talk about if you are already in a privileged position and you grew up like she's grown up. But however, you can take some good things, good pointers from it, and so so she feels, number one, that she deserves the best in every situation, in all scenarios, because the first scene I remember was her and Lilah were facing against each other in I think it was squash, or they were playing a type of sport, and they were both wanting to win. Okay, oops, quick correction. I have no idea where I got squash from, but they were playing a tennis match. Like I said, I read this like months ago, but yeah, they were playing tennis and they were both trying to get into the varsity team. Look, I'm not American, so I'm not sure what that is, but by the looks of it, it's very popular. And yeah, so the coach was saying, the varsity roster is full, but I don't have a single freshman. And okay, what happened was that, long story short, they both ended up getting a draw or something like that, and so they were both chosen to be alternates. So they'd only train with the varsity team, but they'd stay on the bench basically and only cover for them when someone's sick. That's the only time they get to play matches. So, and then, so she feels like, of course, Emery deserved to win. She deserves the best. And so she's the one that takes initiative first and speaks before Lilah and says, no, I don't want to go to JV. I think this was like another alternative team or something. But yeah, so she said she'd rather, bench warm, And look, as a contrast, so Lilah, at the time she was a lot less confident, as she's had a completely different background from her and a lot less wealthy, a lot less privileged. So it says, Lilah had crossed her arms over her stomach and looked towards Emery to seek encouragement. So, yeah. So, okay, now I've put the book away. So this is what I've written. So one of her low-key iconic but toxic mindset is that Emery feels she deserves the best and naturally expects to be successful at everything. And this mindset gets her far, as well as, like I said, the benefit of her already being wealthy, which gives her access to more opportunities to actually try more things out and be successful, compared to other people. But it's all about a mindset as well. If you work with the mindset and the belief in yourself that you deserve the best, that you can do it, and you give yourself permission energetically to have access to much more things than you would have had access to. Because imagine if someone who's the opposite of her and they think, oh, they don't deserve things, that means they would just sit there, they would be reluctant to try things, they would put themselves last, etc. So by making this shift of actually, you do deserve this, you do deserve to have the best things, you do deserve to be successful at everything, that can get you quite far regardless of wealth, I think, personally. It's just my opinion. And so another point, she convinces herself that every situation works in her favor, and this is so powerful. So it's like this character as well, like I said, she goes to Derrymore Academy, right? And where there are quite a lot of bigoted people who just make comments, stereotyping her or making these microaggressions at her, to comment on, what she looks like or any sort of stereotypical thing to do with her ethnicity, like of her background. But yeah, she always, like the character, she's quite prideful as well, so she always lets it, so wait, how do I explain this? So she never makes a big deal out of it, and she never lets other people know that she's hurt, or she just lets things go, and just laughs some things off. But obviously it came to a point where I remember in one scene of the book where a teacher said something serious, and and the character reported that teacher, and that teacher ended up getting fired because of those, that issue, right? And so she speaks up when the situation calls for it, but she never the character never seems to hold a grudge, or she never seems to ruminate on anything bad that may have happened or has happened around her. And she only tends to focus on the good things that are happening in her life, what she wants next, what she wants to do and how she wants to have fun. And yeah, so that's remaining lighthearted. So no matter the actual assumed reality of the situation, she assumes that everything works for her in her favor. And she only chooses to believe in what makes her feel better. And I know it's slightly low-key toxic, or it can go a bit too far if you already have like too much ego. But for those who have been silencing themselves for so long and seeking permission, those who have been too shy, this mindset can really help them out, or I feel like these two things have helped me out a lot and have really opened my eyes. Because at the end of the day, it's better to assume good and positive things rather than assuming negative things, regardless of the truth, And this part I'll just read out, She was likely encouraged at a very young age to make basically her family proud because they'd get her to accomplish lots of impressive things and get her to achieve a lot of things that add merit to the family name, basically. And obviously her privileged background really helped her in this. That's why she was mentioned a lot in the local paper, right? And yeah, which I'm about to elaborate on. So she was also given access to the best facilities, tutors, anything she needed to be able to accomplish all these things, right? And it says, Emery, this is a direct quote, Emery was in the local paper often for selling the most Girl Scout cookies or winning a tennis tournament. And then this one, loaded down with shopping bags and her parents' undivided attention. So it's easy to assume how someone who's grown up like this has this mindset naturally, of feeling like she deserves the best. Every situation works in her favor. She follows what she believes rather than what is like the objective truth, even if she, let's say she loses a tennis match, which she did, she spun the narrative to, I only lost because I was actually better than the other person I was playing the match with, Obviously, that can be quite immature, but in some ways it's better than ruminating and feeling sad all the time and why did I lose? Why? She never lets anything stick with her like that. She just moves on. So she's literally, Emery, the character, right, is the queen of just moving on. So mindset plus wealth equals unstoppable high self-concept, if that makes sense. And she's also very high maintenance and aesthetic minded, to the point where that actually kind of annoyed me a bit, because she was judging the character Lilah so hard on having, what she called a childish bag accessories or something like that. And I feel like Emery's very high maintenance to the point where she feels like anyone who is more casual and presents themselves more casually is sloppy and messy, which really that wouldn't be the case. But it's not that deep, I know, fictional character, but so she sort of expects everything in her surroundings to be polished and overly high maintenance and beautiful. So she hates sloppiness or anything tacky. Which is why initially she has so much beef with the character Lilah, because she doesn't like the fact that someone could be that natural and that I don't know, I wouldn't say low maintenance, but Lilah does seem, although she was quite shy at the beginning of the book, she's the one that actually ends up improving herself, being motivated by the character Emery, and actually doing something good for herself once she stopped idealizing Emery so much, you know. And that I can relate to so deeply. Like, I used to be like Lilah before. I used to strongly idealize people around me in the past, to the point where it made me very stuck, and I was so busy focused on them rather than me. But then, just like Lilah, I had that reality check of like, oh, I need to do something in my own life and, you know, start improving myself. And that's what I did. And yeah. And so, okay, back to the character Emery, right? To sum her up, right, and why she's so brilliant, in my opinion, right? She believes in herself the most. Like, literally, she believes she's always gonna go far, that she has like good news to tell all her friends and family and everything. Yeah, she believes, like, yeah, belief is everything. Believing in yourself is everything, really and truly. So hopefully these points and learning from this character can actually help open your eyes and maybe even change your life like it's changed mine.